What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Dave Gold Evolve podcast. We've got our man, Frank Salas, the talented Mr. Salas, who is originally from Texas, has traveled all over the world, and is coming to us live from Medellin, Colombia. And we're going to be learning about serial entrepreneurship. We're going to be learning about remote professionals. Okay, I don't know if you guys have heard that term before, and also what it's like to be, a man dating as he travels the world. So thank you so much for joining the podcast today, Frank.
Awesome, Dave. Thanks so much. Really appreciate you having me on here. I'm looking forward to serving your tribe.
Beautiful, beautiful. So how about you give us a little bit of a backstory into how you got into entrepreneurship and where you're at right now with the multiple businesses that you run?
Yeah, so I started my first business at the age of 20. I'm 33 years old right now. I got into entrepreneurship at a very young age because I was just very gifted at sales and marketing, and I knew I could drive business. My first business was in the beauty business. We had an airbrush tanning studio. We had a lot of USPs, a lot of very unique things that made us stand out in the marketplace. And that's where I got to perfect my skills in internet marketing and PR, public relations. We worked with organizations like Miss America, Miss Texas, Miss Dallas, Miss USA. That was a very awesome experience. Right now, I currently travel the world as a lifestyle choice. I'm on 5 years of traveling now this month, and I'm in Medellin, Colombia. It's an amazing place. If you're a single man, you have to come down to Medellin. It's fantastic. And I've got multiple companies right now. I'm at a very blessed part of the journey where I've got great people around me. I have an outsourcing firm in my empire, and that outsourcing firm provides me with people from all over the world, which is just a great way to stock up my businesses. My most interesting business right now is a video game business. So we make augmented reality and virtual reality corporate trainings for medium-sized enterprises, corporations, and small businesses. So we gamify training so people really get concepts and actually how the business works. Very, very fun way to get everybody bought in and on the same page. And I also do consulting. I go by the name The Talented Mr. Salas on social media. That gets me into a lot of fun games. I have a very humble but international real estate practice where we do a lot of international short-term rentals, vacation rentals, real estate development, and land acquisition. So it's a very, very fun way to play the game. I got no sound from you.
Oh, let's get into the reason why we connected, which is you've got this outsourcing agency, but you don't like to call, you don't like to call them virtual assistants. You like to call them remote professionals. And as I got into the online space and started to grow and scale my community, I started to see the benefits and the necessities of building a team if I wanted to grow. But I also realized that there was a lot of information out there, a lot of people to hire, but it wasn't really clear as to who would best fit my needs and to help me to grow with the least amount of tension and the most efficiency. So what's been your experience in the field of outsourcing, and why do you call them remote professionals instead of VAs?
Yeah, that's a great question. So inside of our organization, VA is a curse word. We don't have that. We actually have a full day on why we are not VAs. And if anybody wants to VA, they can get the heck out and go kick rocks because we don't use that word there. We have a higher standard. A VA is somebody who's going to work with you and 5 other clients and bill you guys at the same time. A VA is not going to read a book on their own. A VA is not going to get certification. A VA doesn't improve. They're just trying to survive. They just have a little side hustle that they're doing, and it's impossible. There's a huge myth where if you find these people, they're going to fight tooth and nail to grow your business. That's not the case. They're going to do a good interview up front, get you as a client. They're going to do just good enough so you don't fire them, and they're going to keep you happy. And that sounds good. Yeah, Dave, we want to keep you happy. But at the end of the day, your business doesn't care if you're happy or not. Your business has needs, it has KPIs. And so when you work with a remote professionals, KPIs aren't foreign. If you go to a VA and say, hey, what's a KPI? They might know, they might not know. When you go to a remote professional, they know what a KPI is. They know their career path. They know what certifications they need to get to the next level. These are things that they consciously work at on their own and in a controlled environment. So with our outsourcing firm, we really believe in finding great attitudes and then training the right skills so they can get into the proper ways. We also hire Fortune 5000 talent. We straight up steal talent from IBM, Apple, Uber, AT&T. A lot of people who work with VAs want a VA to grow their business, and they have no business development experience. Where if you want to outsource, outsourcing is actually a really awesome Fortune 5000 growth strategy. But outsourcing to some dude in the hood who in the Philippines who doesn't speaks English well because he watches movies and communicate well, that person doesn't have any qualifications. Whereas somebody who works at IBM or Apple, they might be PMP certified, Agile certified, waterfall certified. Like those are frameworks that can make your business more profitable. So that is a remote professional, whereas a VA is somebody who, I want to make Dave happy.
Well, it sounds like a remote professional would cost a lot more than a VA. Is that the case?
Actually, no. A lot of VAs, because they speak English well and they know the going rates for specialized talent, they're charging, number one, multiple people at the same time. They're working with Dave. They're working with Frank. They're working with all these other people. They're getting paid 5 times the pay, doing a 20% of the work. And somebody who is an actual employee of a Fortune 5000 company, they're getting paid the local and fair wages from their country. So $100 a month, $100 a week rather, employs most people at the entry level. So to give you an idea, and if we're talking about this, if we're all entrepreneurs here, let's not look at hours, because it's $2.50 an hour is the starting wage to hire somebody overseas. But let's not look at that. Let's not look at the weekly. It's $100 a week. Let's not look at the monthly. It's $400 a month. I want you to think yearly. This is a yearly move. It's $5,000 per year to hire one human being to work full-time, 40 hours a week for you, Monday to Friday, or whatever days you need, versus hiring locally and spending a minimum of about $56,000, not including payroll taxes, unemployment insurance, workman's compensation, medical benefits, dental, vision, and then having those people go to somebody else within a year or 2 or 3. Those kinds of games and fees don't exist when you outsource. So it's just a better overall growth strategy. So a VA who's on these websites, they might be charging $7, $8 an hour. They don't have any qualifications. All they do is have a profile on a website where other suckers, I'm going to call them suckers, or people who are just, needing some help here and there to get stuff done. They just have a good profile on that one platform.
Not only do they have a good profile, that VA might have hired a business coach, which I had one interview with a VA who was working with a business coach that told them, you don't need to charge $255. You should charge $15 an hour to get started. And people will pay you that because to them, it doesn't seem like a lot.
100%. Whereas $15 an hour in most markets can literally get you mid-level management or even executive or VP level people. We hired an ex-CEO from Pepsi Latino for $75,000 a year to manage a trucking company.
And it's not really to brag. It's not really to brag. And people, I've seen comments before where they're like, I was a part of a group coaching program, a business group coaching program that was helping, some coaches and agency owners look into hiring and scaling. And the common misconception is that like, oh, how is that fair? But to that person, that's a good wage for their local currency. And they're happy to take on that job, especially if the work environment is healthy. Is that correct?
100%. You got to realize that America, the UK, Australia, New Zealand, and Canada are the top most expensive places on planet Earth to hire people from. There is internet and the English language and books and courses and Fortune 5,000 companies that already outsource to outside of those top 5 markets. Think about it. If a Fortune 5,000 company with all of its executives and all of its social causes, if they are making this strategy, what makes you better or smarter than a Fortune 5,000 company? You're not. It's just a good strategy. So there are some people who are like, I only hire from America. I only want the red and blue on my team. Well, you have to pay the taxes and fees. And guess what? American workers, for most jobs, aren't the best workers. American workers are entitled, they're resume shopping. It's hard to fire them. If you fire them, you got to pay a premium on your unemployment insurance. It might sue you. There's a whole mess of things that you just don't deal with when you work with the rest of the world.
So when did you hire your first, virtual assistant or remote professional? Maybe each one, and maybe you can give us a little story that you experienced along the way.
Yeah, so my very first virtual assistant was actually a graphic designer. I needed a logo. I couldn't do any logo. And I went to an internet board back in 2008. And I was like, yo, I'll pay $500 to somebody who can make me an awesome logo. And I just got flooded with thousands, literally like 3,000 to 5,000 for logos. And I was able to like cherry pick. It was awesome for $500. It was just dope. And so that was really cool. That was my very first one. And I worked with a bunch of VAs probably for about 6 years. I had them all in my my beauty business. I had them in my real estate business. And I was so frustrated because they just didn't have it in them. I believed in them. I trained them, but their mental capacity, their professional capacity, it just wasn't there. So every year I kept firing my people and I kept getting better talent and better talent. And I kept getting a little closer and a little closer. And I was like obsessed with this. I was like, something is there. There is something there, but I'm doing something wrong. So then at 2016, so about 4 or 5 years ago now, I hired my first person who had Fortune 5,000 experience. And this was somebody who was, they were in the Philippines, and I had a great experience working with them up until they started pulling VA shit. So what they would do for your story is they would basically get access to all of my clients and start trying to do work with them on the side because they weren't thinking like a company person. They got a business coach and they're like, oh, I could charge $15 an hour. Frank's paying me too little, blah, blah, blah. And they went in and they went to my Rolodex and they tried to do what I was doing. And then they failed. But because they were doing it at less, the people that I'm working with were all ideal customers anyways. They all went over there. So I was like, oh, damn. And it was just like, there's something there. It was like people would steal my talent because what we're doing is so good here, but we're not there yet. And so I took another 3 years to really start having an internal training program to create this remote professional with the help of other Fortune 5,000 people right now. So, so for us, when someone comes in, our goal is to remove all of their negative habits and implant all of our positive ones and say, this is our flag, this is our banner. And it's like the Yankees. If you go to the Yankees, every year we're playing for the championship. We're not going for second. We're not going for third. Playoff wins don't matter. If we don't get the championship, this season was a failure. And so we really get that message into their brain. And then they're a lot more sticky to the company. They don't go anywhere. They're not like Americans. They're not resume shopping. They're there for life. They want to retire with you.
What does it mean in that context to play for the championship? Is that hitting a certain, KPI or, earning your bonus or and bringing on a certain amount of clients? What does it mean to be at a championship level?
Sure, for sure. And so I'm glad you brought this up because a lot of VAs, their metric, their unspoken KPI is, I need you to grow my business. VA from whatever island in the Philippines or whatever place in the Caribbean or Mexico or Africa or Eastern Europe, I need you to drive these numbers. Whereas a company, a business with different operations, all businesses have marketing, operations, and finance. That's all a business is: marketing, operations, or finance. And so the championship is, we're going to put you in either marketing, operations, or finance, and we're going to give you 1 job, 2 jobs, maybe 3 jobs. And a championship is for you to do that job very, very well on your 8 to 5 shift. Outside of that, we're expecting you to improve your English, to read these kinds of books. We actually have English classes at Salas Staffing. We have book studies where we transfer really awesome frameworks, specifically extreme ownership, how U.S. Navy SEALs lead and win. We teach combat leadership to remote professionals.
Jocko
And we have remote
Willink.
professionals literally changing their lives because Jocko Willing, because we got Jocko in their ear, man. And now when the job's not done, they're hearing Jocko saying, yo, take ownership of this. And it's a
Extreme
very, very
ownership.
powerful thing, man. But
Extreme
just like anything,
ownership.
you got to get on them.
Extreme ownership is a module that I talk about in my course that is such a powerful concept that when you take ownership of whatever it is that you want to achieve, you stop pushing the blame on others. You stop thinking about ways to get out, and you double down on what you're doing. You find a way to make it work. And no matter what happens, you
100%.
take full responsibility and acceptance that, you know, this is what needed to happen. I needed to go through this experience. I needed to learn these lessons. So that's really powerful. And where are most of your remote professionals from in the world?
We actually hired globally. When I first started, I was all about the Philippines. Oh, I want to work with the Philippines. Then I went out there and I was like, yo, this ain't it. Like for maybe entry level stuff, very easy entry level stuff, graphic design, maybe I might want to stay with this talent pool, but the world is so huge. So we actually recruit from 5 major markets, just like the Fortune 5,000. And that's Latin America, the Caribbean, Eastern Europe, Africa, and Asia.
Would it be okay if I asked, you know, what's the difference in working with people from those different markets?
Yeah, absolutely. For example, if I'm looking for technical talent, specifically a programmer, a front-end developer, a back-end developer, a full-stack developer, I'm going to Eastern Europe, man. I'm getting me some organized people who keep things nice and tidy. I don't want sloppy code from the Philippines or Thailand. I don't want code from Africa. I don't want code from Latin America. Because when you go to those countries, you look at the streets, you see how that culture operates. When you go to the culture in Eastern Europe, tidy, neat, organized. That's how I want my code. Because I can't code, but I want to work with people that can. And so that's an example. However, on the flip side, if I'm looking for customer service, man, I might want to hit up Jamaica, man. I might want to hit up the Caribbean. I might want to hit up Mexico in the ports and find some people that are working with cruise lines. I might want to hit up those kinds of talents. Now, if I'm looking for website stuff, man, technical talent more on the back end, front end website developers, not apps, not video games, websites only. Man, India is really dope. That's a very, very good spot to get there. But then you got to play that game with all of those things. So every market has its nuances, it has its intricacies. And I've just been very blessed to commit 14 years of my life to working with all of them. I live in most of those markets. If I haven't lived in them yet, I have plans to live in them in the future. And it's just an experience thing, man. So I'm very blessed to be able to help out myself first and foremost, but also my clients with this kind of talent.
So what's brought you and, you know, made you stay in Medellin for so long? You told me that we were going to talk about some life hacks. So as you've traveled the world, what have you learned and why did it bring you to Colombia?
Yeah, so I first came into Colombia in my second year of travels in Medellin specifically. The weather, number one, is amazing here year round. Right now it's January, late January, and it's 80 degrees. It's actually the summertime here in Medellin. The women are absolutely gorgeous. If you're a single man or even thinking about getting married, if you're in a relationship, come out to Medellin and just rethink your life because you're just like, they're awesome. The women here are great. If you like Latin women, they're very humble, good energies, good vibe, very family oriented. I want a lot of kids. So like, I want to be around people that have a loving household and they're very social and people say good morning and hello. And everybody's flirty and everyone's, good looking, good hygiene. Everybody takes care of themselves. Everybody presents themselves. So beautiful people, beautiful culture. The cost of living is 60 to 80% less than America. So that's just a life hack right there. It costs me 60 to 80% less to live my life. As far as life hacks, specifically with having a remote professional, specifically an executive assistant remote professional, right now I'm actually moving every single day, 24 hours. And so I'm playing this game with myself. I'm staying at a 3-star hotel 3 to 4 nights a week. I'm staying at a 4-star hotel 1 to 2 nights a week. And I'm staying or I'm staying at a 5-star hotel 1 to 2 nights per week. Based on my personal metrics, water intake, diet, exercise, other things in the business, but little things like that. That gives me enough tokens. So I gamify myself, my life experience. So if I do these things, I get these tokens to go put in towards these different goals. And so I'll tell my assistant, okay, I want to take this 4-star hotel token and I want to use it tonight. Or I want to take this 5-star hotel token and I want to use it tonight. But if I don't have enough points, she'll be like, hey, Frank, you don't have enough points for that. So I'm going to put you in a 4-star hotel. And so what that does is it removes the mental fatigue of going to the different platforms, researching the price, figuring out what the best one. I say, no, remote professional. Her name is Diana. She's Colombian. I say, here is my budget for these particular properties. These are my preferences, this many square feet, this kind of look, these kind of amenities. Please call them and ask them how strong the Wi-Fi is. Ask them tell them I'm about to book a room and this is the room I'm going to book. What's the speed in that? How, is it close to the router? Does anybody else share with that? And all that stuff. So it's like a very thought out process for us to get in. So that's helpful. But anything, booking travel flights, finding the best rates, literally anything. I don't do anything other than communicate with people. I don't even occupy mental space for my calendar. Like you and I had an issue with my calendar last week because one of my new girls was just messing up. And so in my head, it was like, damn, that's their problem because I pay her money to be that part of my brain. You know what I'm saying?
I do know what you're saying, but I think for a lot of the audience that you're at an advanced level of this entrepreneurship game where, you've really gametized it to an extent that you've got multiple businesses, multiple teams, all right? You're working on a different kind of structure that others may find overwhelming, especially when a lot of the guys that come to work with me they're young or aspiring entrepreneurs that are just trying to get the structure and the brand strategy down so they can start attracting their first few businesses. And I think the question that I have for you then is, when do you think that it's time to start to scale and to start to hire your first remote professional?
From day one, you got to realize that as a solopreneur, you're doing yourself a disadvantage. All businesses, I repeat again, all businesses have capacity. And if you are the only person in your business, you cannot increase your capacity. It is impossible to increase your capacity. If you add another human being, automatically you doubled your capacity. And so my first thing that I recommend all entrepreneurs to do is hire somebody. An executive assistant at the entry level is $100 a week. If you can't swing $100 a week, a part-time one is $50 a week, $2,500 a year, $200 a month. I know people spend more money on dumb stuff, coffees a week and a month than that. So start there. And the reason I say start there,
OnlyFans, their Spotify, their Spotify, their Netflix, whatever
Rubbers,
it is, they're
man.
woke, they're getting their delivery. Like there's so many things that people spend money on, especially business owners, and yet they could hire a remote professional, and I'm sure some of them are going to be inspired to reach out to you after this conversation.
For sure. And so if you're at that place where you're like, it's day one or it's about to be day one, having an executive assistant, what it does is it removes 80% of the admin work, all the BS, all the copy paste stuff, all the clicky click, typey type of stuff that is annoying, that you don't want to do. That's the pain of the business. The reason I have so much fun in my business is because I don't do that. I don't do anything. If I got to open up a bank account, I call up my CFO. I'm like, yo, I need a bank in this country. What's the name of the LLC? It's Salas Staffing, whatever country, LLC International. Ciao. Let me know when it's done. And I hang up. And then I go play golf, smoke a cigar, work out, do yoga. And so for you to get there, it starts with an executive assistant. An executive assistant is going to be that very, very first step to establish that framework. And what are they going to do for you? Handle your email, handle your calendar, handle your admin tasks. Once you master those, you can start to very quickly identify what are you doing on a day-to-day basis that doesn't bring in money to your account and doesn't require you to do this. I am required to come on these podcasts. I can't outsource this, not yet, until I hire an actor or an actress to put out here and learn our lines and do that. I'm not there yet.
Artificial intelligence, there's going to be like a Frank Salas robot that comes on, and you've already programmed all the answers.
Yeah. So, I can't wait for those days, but until then, I'm the one that's stuck here, man. And so I always ask my clients, the very first step when someone works with me and hires me as their chief outsourcing officer, I give them the time journal worksheet. And it's very simple. You can do this right now. And it's write down what you did today, literally everything that you did for your business and for your life. And then ask yourself 2 questions. Did this get me paid? And was I absolutely required to do this personally? Once you see that, you're going to say, wow, I have a lot of outsourcing potential. And then slowly but surely, as your budget allows, you can start to see things change. And what happens for most people is they start slowly. They start to get a little bit of traction because now they're more comfortable. Now they're more confident. Now they're approaching their clients with a different type of energy. They're not, oh, please. Now they're like, oh, yeah, my team and I are going to handle this. We got you. It's a different vibe. And people will start to do more business with you. And then from there, it's like, okay, now this one part-time person, I need to go full-time with them, but now they're a little bit busy. And so now we need to give them an assistant. And then it starts to spiral because now you're like, okay, now you have your 3 assistants doing all these things where you got to think about a business, marketing, operations, finance. Put people in the right places to do the job and watch your company scale.
So if someone was going to give you a title, what would they call you?
It depends on so I'm an interdisciplinary consultant. I'm very skilled in operations and I'm very skilled in marketing. If someone's going to hire me in the marketing skill, I'm the chief marketing officer. If they're going to hire me in the operations skill, I'm the chief outsourcing officer. If they're going to engage me at both, I'm the chief growth hacking officer.
A man of many talents, talented Mr. Salas. All right, Frank. I'm actually shortening the length of these podcasts due to the fact that people's attention span is so short these days. And I feel like we've covered a lot. We actually try to live stream my group that it didn't work. We'll have to do that another time. But, maybe we'll cut it off here and we'll end with the final question, which is, how do you want to evolve your businesses and also your, lifestyle or dating life over the next year in 2021?
Yeah, for sure. So first off, I got to start with business because without any money, it's really hard to get some honeys. At least keep it at a certain comfortable level. At least the way I like to operate. So for me, and this is the name of a book that I'm writing, is my goal is always to have CEO money. Now, when I say that, a lot of people might think, oh, you want to be paid like the CEO. No, sir. No, ma'am. I, as an entrepreneur, as a serial entrepreneur, want to have so much money that I can hire a professional CEO. Throw him a couple milli and say, yo, watch this puppy for me. Watch this chicken for me because I want to make sure these eggs come out every single month. That's a Texas term right there. I need you to watch my chickens because I need to make sure my eggs come out every single month. So the goal is to get CEO money. And eventually my dream job is to be the chief meme librarian of all of my companies and just make memes all day. That's my dream job, On the personal side, I'm 33. I don't have any intentions of settling down anytime soon, man. The world's a wide place, man. I have a very, very, very fun dating life. And personally, I'm just looking to have, I'm at 4 home bases now. I'd like to be closer to, 10 home bases, by the end of the decade. I don't know. It's very hard for me to love a place. And when I love a place, I kind of stay there for a bit to kind of
where are those 4 places and where do you want to add, what do you want to add into the mix?
Yeah. So Austin, Texas, one of my home bases. Tulum, Mexico, another home bases. Medellin, Colombia, another one of my home bases. And I really, really enjoyed Portugal. More so for the sailing. Than the people. There's obviously a better dating pool outside of Portugal. Maybe you might want to import your honey to Portugal, has been my experience, but there's a lot of sailing out there. It's beautiful. The food's fantastic. The wine, the lifestyle is great. The weather's good. But for me, it was really the sailing, just being out on the ocean and like being on a team and having a sailboat, entertaining, man, I really appreciated that.
And what else do you want to add into the mix? Because I'll probably meet you in Portugal. I'm about to get a Portuguese passport and move there
dope.
sometime next year. But what other places were you thinking about adding to that mix?
Yeah, so for sure, Eastern Europe, it's looking like Ukraine, but I can't handle cold weather, man. I'm too dark skinned for that cold weather, man. I just can't hack it. Spain for sure. I love Spain as a whole, but I don't know if my home base is going to be Madrid. I don't know if it's going to be Barcelona. I don't know if it's going to be Marbella. It could be the Gran Canaria Islands. I just love it so much. So I'm still trying to figure out that home base there. Definitely Eastern Europe, but South Africa, man. I haven't yet been to South Africa. I want to go hit up Cape Town. And I haven't yet been to Thailand. So a lot of people really like Thailand. So that might be a home base there. Bali was cool, but man, I just need a little bit more diversity than being on one island. So that's just a good place to chill.
All right, we're going to add one more additional bonus question, which is, what does it mean to have a 400-hour work week?
Yeah, so the 400-hour work week is the name of my next book that's coming out here later on this year. Go to the400hourworkweek.com to get the pre-sale of it. It only exists in physical copy, and it's more of an art piece. You want to put it on your coffee table, and it has a lot of frameworks on the 400-hour work week. But basically, the 400-hour work week boils down to this. Anybody who has achieved any amount of wealth ever in the history of mankind has followed and mastered one basic rule, and it's the 400-hour work week. Now, a human being, one person, Dave, Frank, we can only put 126 hours a week. And that's if we do nothing but be in our business and human. So 18 hours a day, 6 hours, 4 hours to sleep, and 2 hours to eat, poop, be human, all that stuff. So we can only put in 126 hours max. But Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, Elon Musk, Thomas Edison, all these people who've done stuff, they started with hiring 10 people to work 40 hours a week towards their goal. Henry Ford did it. Everybody did it. And so they started realizing, I can't do this alone. I need to hire 10 people to get 4 hours a week done. Now, not just any 10 people, you want to get the right 10 people. So really think about, what do you offer and what do you lack? And that'll start to be a lot more clear. And then my book really documents my 14-year career of outsourcing all over the world with all these different frameworks. So it's got like if you're a consultant, go to page 37. It's got the consultant framework in an infographic form. So you can see the different ways to deploy a technical team, a creative team, a marketing team, a lead generation team, a lead follow-up team, a client retention team, all to support you and your goals, whether you're a small business, solopreneur, medium-sized enterprise, or a corporation.
Good stuff, Frank, Salas. I really appreciate your time, you coming on here. I know this is just the beginning. We're probably going to do some work together at some point. And if they want to reach out to you, they can find you at...
So you can go to talentedmrsalas.com. I'm very active on Instagram at talentedmrsalas. And if you're in Medellin, just go out to the hood and go, hooty hoo, and I'm going to pop out and say, what's up?
My man. All right. Thank you so much for your time. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
All right, brother.
Peace.